In this video, I'm going to be talking about future perfect passive verbs in Latin. Now you might be thinking, oh, another future tense, you're joking, which, is understandable. However, the future perfect is really useful. It's not used very often, but it's always good to be able to recognize it. So we won't spend ages on it, but it is really useful to know. If you're struggling with any of the passive verb endings, go and download this complete reference guide to Latin verbs. It's got all the tables you need and it's completely free, so just go and download it from the link in the description below. It'd be really useful just to have to hand. So active or passive verbs? Well, in the active voice, the nominative is the one doing the verb. The boy will have kicked the horse. In the passive, the nominative is having the verb done to it. The boy will have been kicked by the horse. In the first sentence, the boy is doing the action. In the second sentence, the boy is receiving the action, but he is still grammatically nominative. His role has just changed. So future perfect passives in Latin are formed using the perfect passive participle, which is the fourth principal part in your dictionary lists next to all your verbs. It uses the future tense of the verb esse, which means to be. So the perfect passive participle is always nominative, luckily, because it has to match the person in charge of the sentence, the nominative. However, it changes gender and number to match that nominative. This is just like the perfect passive verbs and the pluperfect passive verbs. Both those videos are on my channel if you want to go and have a little look at those. Let me explain what I mean by it changes in gender and number. So I take my perfect passive participle and I add the ending that matches the nominative of my sentence. So if my first, second, third singular is masculine, I use us. If my first, second, third singular is feminine, I use a. And if my first, second, third singular is neuter, I use To those, I add ero, eris, erit, depending on whether it's I, you, he, she, it as the nominative. Then, for my first, second, third person plural, I have to change my ending to make it match my nominative. It has to be plural if it's we, you plural, or they. I can't have a singular nominative. So I change them if it's masculine to e, if it's feminine to I, and if it's neuter to a. It goes erimus, eritis, erunt, added on the end. Here's an example. I've given you the masculine form of each of these. So if my nominative is masculine in the I form, it would be portatus ero. If my nominative is you singular masculine, then it would be portatus eris. If it was he, she, it nominative masculine singular, it would be portatus erit. Then I switch to the plural version of the nominative ending. And if the we is a group of men, then it would be portati erimus. If it's you plural and it's a group of men again, it would be portati eritis. And if it is they, then it would be portati erunt. These mean I will have been carried, you will have been carried, he, she, it will have been carried, we will have been carried, you will have been carried, and they will have been carried. Let's look at some examples. At the bottom, I have my table of endings to help you out. Remember that nominative ending of the participle can change based on the gender and number of the nominative. I also have how to translate it. And then in my vocabulary list, I have in the green box all the vocab you need. You might notice that the verb entries are longer than usual. That's because I have given you all four principal parts of the verbs. The first principal part is your present I do the verb, like I destroy, I bring, I lose. The second principal part is the infinitive. The third principal part is the perfect, which is where a lot of them change a lot. So that's why we always have the perfect stem. And then the fourth principal part is the one we're looking at today, the perfect passive participle. So if you want to have a go at these examples now, pause the video, otherwise I'm going to go through the answers. For number 1, a militibus spectata eris. Spectata eris is my verb. It's a future perfect passive. I know that because I have the future form of the verb to be plus a perfect passive participle. So spectata eris, you will have been something. In this case, you will have been seen. A militibus, by the soldiers. Number 2, cras bellum perditum erit. My verb, perditum erit, again, future perfect passive. This time it is a neuter form of he, she, it will have been. So I know that it's it will have been lost for perdo. Cras gives me some time context to this sentence. So tomorrow, then bellum is my nominative. Tomorrow, the war will have been lost. It's not a very happy sentence. None of my sentences are very happy. Sorry about that. For number 3, tum apunicis victi erimus. Victi erimus is my future perfect passive. We will have been conquered. Apunikis is my ablative of agent by the Carthaginians. And tum gives me a time phrase of this sentence. Then, we will have been conquered by the Carthaginians. You could say by the Carthaginian people. It's an adjective, but by the Carthaginians is absolutely fine. Number 4, urbes de latae erunt. This one's nice and short, so hopefully it is not too tricky. Look at my verb first, de latae erunt. I know that it's a they will have been and it's feminine, so I need to find a feminine noun. Urbes is actually feminine. That's why I've shown you in the vocabulary what gender the noun is. So urbes is my nominative. The cities will have been destroyed. And number 5, ego frustra lata ero. Now lata ero is a really, really unusual one. It changes a lot in the fourth principal part. So lata actually comes from latus, which is the fourth principal part of the verb fero. Fero, fere, tuli, latus. It means bring, carry, bear. Ego helps me out. Ego, I, will have been carried or brought, for lata ero, frustra, in vain. I will have been carried in vain. And that's really all there is to future perfect passives. They can look quite daunting when you first see them, especially if you don't really know your essay in the future tense, which is something that you should get on learning if you can. But if you stick with them, they actually make quite a lot of sense. They follow the same pattern as the perfect and pluperfect passive verbs, with the perfect passive participle and then a version of the verb to be added on. Most important thing to remember is that it has to match the nominative in number and gender. They're always going to be nominative, so luckily there's only a few endings to learn for these. You just need to remember the future tense of the verb to be gets added onto the end of the perfect passive participle, that fourth principal part. If you need any more help with verb endings, do go and download that complete reference guide to Latin verbs from the link in the description below. It's free and it'll really help you out. Let me know if you have any questions or queries or anything that you struggled with in the comments. I hope it's been really useful to you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on bambasbat.